Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. We're in Studio M, which is the metal workshop. And we're on our 2009 Polaris Ranger. I've already started taking a couple lug nuts off, but you know, the rest of them are tight. The wheel's not supposed to do that, so there's the problem right there. We gotta fix that. So let's get after it. So we'll take off the rest of these lug nuts. And of course they got to get stuck. The last one has to get stuck in the thing because it's on camera. I'm telling you, if there's something to that camera thing. All these bushings, there's bushings here, back in here. There's bushings all the way back in this area here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least 6 bushings back here that are going to have to be replaced. I don't know about the shocks. I may just leave that alone. It is a 2009. More than likely they need to be replaced, but whether I'm going to do that or not, that's a different story. It's probably going to be a struggle because it's been together for a long time. I don't know if the little wrench here is strong enough, but I'm going to try it and let's see if it'll take this bolt off. I'm not really sure. I think it will. Yeah, that's just the 3/8 drive and it did that. I'm kind of surprised really, but it did it. Now I'm a little bit leery here if I take this off how far this is going to drop. Probably can't drop because of this. Probably ought to get some kind of blocks and put under this though. So let me get that. You might be able to see I've got some wooden blocks under there. Don't know that that's going to help anything, but won't hurt anything. It'll keep it from dropping too terribly far. That's assuming I can even get the bolt out. And right now that's a big assumption. Tappy tap tap and get it out of there. That came out no problem. And it didn't drop. I kind of expected it would. Yeah, the bushing on the shock is kind of messed up. I don't know if they make bushings for these shocks or not. The shock itself, I mean, because of these springs, is stiff, very stiff. But I don't know. Be nice if that would just get out of my way. I don't know if I can take it off up here or not. Yeah, I think I can get to it maybe. Yeah, it's spinning, but it's not coming loose because you get a wrench on it on the other side. And I guess I'll have to raise the bed up to do that. You probably can't see the bed going up, but the bed is actually rising by itself because I put an electric winch on it, or electric lift, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to have to get up in here and get this bolt off. And now it's in the way for that part of the wrench. Got to be a way to do it though. I'm going to be in the way. You're not going to be able to see it. Wow, I'm surprised it took that off. Made that bolt hot. I mean, this nut is absolutely hot, but that little 3/8 inch wrench is more powerful than you would ever think. It's amazing. I mean, that thing is so hot I can barely hold it. And there's the bolt. It came out, but where did it go? Your guess is as good as mine. There it is. I like to put these back together so that I know where they are. Now I can get this out of my way. You can pretty much see all the bushings are completely shot in there. So I may either make new bushings out of Delrin or something. I know they had rubber in there, but I may make them out of Delrin since I don't have any way to make a rubber bushing. Although I guess I could. I've done it before. I made them out of the end of a rubber hammer. Just take them, turn them on my metal lathe and turn them down and make them fit. I might do that. You just never know. Yeah, I mean, it probably needs new shocks, but I can't compress this by hand, so, you know, That's probably good enough. I know that's not where the shock is. I understand that. You don't have to tell me. I get it. And this torsion bar here is another thing. It looks like it's pretty good though, actually. I'm kind of surprised. Well, that's starting to come loose. Question is, will it spin the whole bolt? And I can't get to the nut with the wrench. Yep, it did. It spun the whole bolt. Very impressed. Well, the bolt is in surprisingly good shape considering how bad the bushings are. So at least we don't have to replace that, I don't think. Not on that one anyway. But the bushing itself is completely gone. It may be so far gone that I may have ruined these A-frames. They're so bad. It's not like I maintain this, I'll be honest with you. The maintenance is neglected. But it's high time it happens, so here we go. Man, that thing is amazingly impressive. Yeah, it's popping out of there. And that bolt is still perfect too. I'll be darned. I wouldn't have expected it. I would have thought the bolts would have been worn in half. I really would have. They look like they're brand new. Thank goodness we got to it before it wore the bolts out at least. Now in the front I had to replace the bolts. That's how bad the front was. Okay, well it looks like I'm ready to take the top A-frame off here, so we may be ready to start doing some replacing here. This got a lot of dirt on this. I'm going to clean that off because otherwise I'm just going to be running that nut right over that hard packed dirt. Okay, I'm going to clean this nut off here, or this bolt off here, the threads. That's about as good as I can do. And I'll spray it with a little WD too. Well, that one ain't working, so I'm going to have to go to the big wrench on this one. I had a feeling this was going to be a tough one. Alright, we got the big gun out here now. This baby, if it don't come off, this will take it off one way or the other. It'll twist the bolt in half. There it goes. No problem for that one. I'm seriously telling you, this is one powerful gun right here. The little one's amazingly powerful, but that big one is just nuts. Alright, here we go. Can we get this off of here now? Ouch! Do you think they're wore out? Do you think there's any slop in there? What about this one? There might be a little slop in there, a little bit of play. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like I said, maintenance is not my strong suit on stuff like this. At least it hasn't been in the past. And that's mostly because I was working on the instruments so much, I just neglected everything else. At least that's my excuse. It's a pretty good excuse. Amazingly, this one here feels perfect. I don't see anything. Well, it's loose. Yeah, I see it. It's loose. It's loose too. It's got to be replaced. But at least the bushing itself is not too terribly bad. Of course, these bushings are super hard. These are really hard, hardened steel. So they don't wear much. The rubber's what wears. Where do I go from here? I'm not even sure. I guess I got to get these pieces of rubber out of here. And to do that, I'll probably need... Nope, I can do it by hand, it looks like. Yeah, you can see how wore out the rubber is. That is not supposed to look like that. Well, actually, it don't look that much different. Maybe there's different ones here. It don't really look that much different, honestly. I'm floored by that. In fact, these don't look as big. And I don't know now. This is not making me feel real good. These new ones are kind of a loose, sloppy fit. In fact, I think these old ones are just as good or better. There may be some different size ones in this box. I've got a whole bunch of them in here to choose from, so I'll look through there and see what we got. But that's not making me feel real warm and fuzzy right at the moment. Let's see if I can get the other one out on this side. My hands are hurting so bad it's hard to do this. Ah, that don't feel good. Yeah, this one's in bad shape. This one's cracked and stuff here, brittle. My goodness. Yeah, this is tough stuff working here. Wow. Yeah, but that one there is pretty broken and cracked up and wore out, so let me do some analyzing and seeing where I'm going to go from here. Well, my friends, I'm not impressed with this bushing kit. All of these are exactly the same. And when you put them in here, there's quite a bit of play in them. I mean, they do kind of fit snug on this end, but I'm just not impressed. There's 2 real long ones, 2 medium lengths, and then the rest are the same length. I'm just not overly impressed with these. They seem cheap. They really do. These plastic pieces seem really cheap. I guess I'm going to go with it. Tested the old ones, and the old ones fit about the same, honestly. That's what scares me. I would have thought the old ones would have been tighter at new. I guess we'll go with it because that's what I have. Well, I got the metal parts and the plastic bushings separated here. But before I go putting them back in this top piece, I guess I might as well take the bottom one off because it'll be easier to get to with this one out of the way. I don't know how this is going to go, whether I have to take this torsion bar attachment off or not. I hope not, but this is going to get kind of ugly because this is going to fall out of here, I think. I just think these are just set on here. I'm not really sure. We'll just have to play it by ear and see how it goes because I just don't know. That bolt still looks fine too. I don't see a problem. I would have expected them to be wore off, honestly. I really would have. I don't know how I'm going to get to this one. Doggone it. Maybe the little wrench will fit in there, but I don't know. Maybe if I put the swivel on the end, maybe it'll work. Maybe. Uh-oh, I don't think it's going to have the power to turn it, unfortunately. Maybe I can break it loose on this end. Maybe. Golly, that's tight. No wonder it couldn't turn it. Let me spray a little WD on the end of that so it'll come through there. Can't get to it. Alright, maybe it'll come loose. I think we got it. Yeah, these little wobble sockets are worth their weight in gold in certain circumstances. I could have done that by hand, but it would have taken a long time. Can I get this bolt out now? That's the question. Not right now. Maybe a little tappy. Don't seem like it wants to come out even that way. Very difficult. Can I find my punch? Maybe I can hit it out here. Don't need a longer punch. This has got me kind of cross-countered here. Don't know if I can do this or not. Boy, that's not moving. All the rest of them have been loose. This one's not so much. Why is it always the last one that gives you trouble? Pretty much that way every time. Of course, we got another one down here yet, but it's the last one in that frame. Golly, and it's loose. I mean, you'd think it just come right out of there. But no, it can't do that. It's got to give you trouble. Somehow or another it's fused to that internal metal bushing, I guess. Rusted to it or something. It'd be easy if you could get to it where you could just hit it straight, but it's at such an angle I can't hit it straight on. Well, it's definitely moving now. Can I pull it out by hand or anything? Not so much. Maybe before I get that one out, maybe I ought to take this bottom one off. Oh yeah, the big one don't have no question about taking them apart. It says you're coming off of there, and it does. And see, that one there looks fine. I don't see any problem with that one. Not so sure about that one up there though. Very hard to hit this thing to drive it out. I'm back in there now far enough that it at least guides it on there for me. I think we got it now. Oh, wow. Well, that bolt's not that terribly bad. It's a little corroded, but it's usable, I think. I don't think it's that bad. And it still threads on. I didn't tear up the threads. I'm amazed at that. That's why you use a punch instead of just hitting on it. This ought to come out of there now, but I'm afraid of this axle. I'm afraid what it's going to do. And I'm pretty sure it should come out of there, though. Except for this thing. Do I just need to take that off? Probably going to have to. I hate to take stuff apart that don't need to come apart. Well, that wasn't that hard anyway. Except it don't come apart as easy. It's spinning. So I have to get some kind of wrench to put on this to keep it from spinning. Probably be a 10 or something. And I don't have that one, of course. It's an 8. It figures. I think this is vice grips territory right here. Okay. Hopefully I can hold it now. That did it. Okay. Wow. That was something. Well, I don't know where we're headed here, but it ain't pretty. Okay. All right, we're loose. Now, will this come out? Okay. Like I said, it ain't pretty. Maybe it'll stay there. With any luck, I doubt it though. See, it wants to flop over. Just nothing's ever simple when you do stuff like this. It ain't never simple. That's all I know for sure. It can never be just easy. Okay, why don't you just stay there? Why don't you just do that? Need a bungee cord or something to pull this piece back. That's what I'll have to find. So I'll set it there temporarily because I don't trust it, and I'll get a bungee cord. Well, I got this bungeed up the best I can. This deal here, you can see it definitely needed new bushings. There wasn't even a bushing in that side, and there's no bushing in that side, and that one's not in good shape either. I'm surprised that it didn't wallow these out, and I don't know that it didn't, but I don't see any real problem in there, so I guess we're okay. So if we put these back in, there's a little bit of play in them, I'll be honest. But I think that's the way these things are made, man. These things are kind of junky. I'm really not impressed. Well, this one's tighter over here. Yeah, that's one there. This one goes through here. And this one goes through here. There you go. Now I gotta find the right bolts. This is the one bolt that was corroded. While I'm thinking of it, I think I'm going to go ahead and get anti-seize and put anti-seize on all these bolts. And so I'll take this one back out. And maybe, yeah, I think I'll just run them all through. I think I'll run them all through the wire brush. This one here is a little bit loose. Not real happy with this one. Now I'll run these through the wire brush and put some anti-seize on them. Okay, I got them cleaned up on the wire wheel. And I think I'll just put the anti-seize on the threads. I think by pushing them through the bushings, they'll get enough on the bushings. That's probably good enough. I'm just going to put everything hand tight until I get everything kind of back together, and then we'll tighten everything down. You know, it looks like the bushing in the bottom of this is still in there, at least on this side. Well, on both sides actually. Now that might be a fun thing to get out. You probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to get that plastic bushing out of the bottom pivot, and I'm using needle nose pliers and pulling out little tiny pieces at a time. Of course, it wouldn't be simple. It couldn't just come out of there. That wouldn't work. I got it out of there. Not much left of that one. Get the other side out if I can. Okay, I think we're good. Now we'll get a couple of these plastic bushings and poke them in there. There's one there. Well, they go in awful loose. I just wish they would go in tighter. They don't go in very tight. What a shame. And then I'm going to need a long one of these, I think, to go all the way through. Yep. I'll go ahead and clean the threads on the wire wheel and put some juice on there. We'll put a little anti-seize juice on this threads of this bolt, even though this one was in really good shape. I don't know if my bungee cord's helping me or hurting me at this point. Boy, the problem is this thing spins on me. There we go. I got it. Yeah, I'll take the bungee cord off, I guess. There it is. Well, it's not quite there. Yeah, it goes one side and then it don't go the other. There we go. It's trying. There we are. I think we're close. There we go. Yeah, we're cooking with gas now. Yep, got it. Now I can set this down on there. I don't think it'll go anywhere now. Whew, that was fun. A lot of strain there in the hands, but I think we're good. Now I'll tighten this bolt down by hand again, just by hand. until I get it as tight as I can get it by hand. And the way these have play in them, I doubt this wheel's going to be any tighter than it was. I'm really not impressed with these bushings and things that we've got here. I sure thought they'd be tighter. Really did. But they're not, so I don't know what else to do with that. And run my finger through these and make sure they're clean. And we got to put the bushings in these. Again, they're not impressive. They're really, it's just not impressive. Really thought we'd have something better than this. I guess it's better than what was in there, I guess. And that's just a guess at this point. And of course, I gotta get those bolts. So I'll go clean these up and I'll be right back. We got to get this one in. Uh-oh. Oh yeah, I can still do it. I thought I screwed up there, but not a problem. I can lift it up and put the bushings in. Yep. And now I got to get the right length deal there. One of the mid-length ones it looks like. Yep. Goes through there like so, and gotta find the right length bolt, and once again we'll go clean it up and then put some juice on it. And I think that's it, right? Got all the main bolts in and main bushings and stuff. I don't think there's any other ones there. Alright, well, I think we can start tightening these up. I'm not going to tighten them down with this baby because this is crazy. But I will use this and tighten them down with this. And I think it should be fine. And those two are done. There's still an awful lot of play in that if you ask me. Nobody's asking me though. Well, let's see. I'm going to need the wobble for this one. Have much play in it now. I guess it's okay. I don't know. This ain't got much better though. You know, this here, it just ain't much better. That's all I can say about that. Ain't much I can do about that. It's just the way it is. Alright, so what do I put on next? I guess this torsion thing, or did I already screw up and probably can't get that on now? Yep. Yeah, I already screwed up, I think. Wouldn't you know? Maybe it'll let me do it this way. Almost. I'll probably have to find a way to spread that out and get that on there. Oh, maybe. Got it. Got it. Woohoo! Well, now that I got it, I think I'm going to take it back out and clean the threads. Yep. At least I can do it. It's not a problem. Okay, here we go. Can we put it back in there again? Whoops, let me see. Did I have to turn it this way because this was at the top before. There we go. shock now. I'm going to look this over and see if there's anything I can do to improve the condition of these mounts here. I don't know if they use these same things or not. They might. Probably not. Well, I might make something new for this. We'll see. Well, I'm going to try to make some bushings that will fill these spaces. I'm going to take some inside measurements here. This is 1.420, and this is different up here, of course. I'm just going to call it 1.200. 1.200. That's the length of the bushing. So I'm going to double everything because I'm going to make 2 bushings, you know, for the other side also, because I'm sure they're wore out also. So, got to make double of everything. Here we go. Well, I've got a piece of this white Delrin in the lathe. I've got the blue Dykem layout die on there. I've got the first bushing set here on my caliper, so I'm going to mark it off. Okay, now I'm going to mark off another one just like it, but in order to mark off another one just like it, I really need to put the cutoff tool in here and space it over that amount. That'll be easier. I mean, there's other ways to do it, but this is just an exact way, and it will be easy for me. Alright, so that gives me a spot. So this will be one pair of bushings here. There'll be another pair of bushings here, and another pair, and another pair. So there's 4 pairs of bushings. They're all real short bushings. Okay, the other 2 are going to be shorter, so I got to set this for a shorter bushing. I'm going to mark off, this will be the first short bushing. And then I just need to mark off the next short bushing. I think I'll go through and make each one of those a little deeper because I'm going to have to turn this whole thing down to a certain size. So let me just do that real quick. Now I need to determine the thickness of each wall on each side, and then I'll cut them in half in the middle is what I'm going to actually do. At least that's the plan. And I'm just guessing on a lot of this stuff here, but these big bushings should have a 0.236 inch flare on the outside. That's what I'm going to mark it for anyway. And these small ones need a smaller flare on the outside. That ought to work, I think. So these are bigger flares because the top one's wider, but that's okay. It's just taking up space. So now I need to turn the inside down to the diameter of the holes. Let me figure that out. Okay, so the actual inside here, I'm going to make that 0.868. So I got to go down quite a bit. I think I'm just going to turn it down with this cutoff tool because it seems to cut easy. Just has to give you trouble here. If this stuff wouldn't hang on there, it would be no problem, but it has to just to make it difficult. Stuff's easy to turn, but it gives you this kind of problem, so it's just something you have to put up with. But it turns very easy. 868. I think I'm going to dial in about 50 thousandths. We're at 984. Let me do my math here so I don't mess up. I'm going to dial in another 50 thousandths here. I need to dial in 28 thousandths from right where I'm at. That ought to be very, very close to 868. I'm getting 870, so I'm about 2 thousandths big. I'm going to turn these down to the size of the shock. I'm going to call it 1256, so I'm going to turn these down a little bit here until we get there. Well, it gets complicated. I can't turn the whole thing down to that now that I think about it, because I'll remove my marks. So I'll have to turn the middle down a little bit on all of them and then turn everything down to this outer diameter. I could have just turned it down to the outer diameter first. It would have been easier, I guess, but I didn't think of it. 1250, and I forgot what I need to make it. It's 15. I need 1255 basically. Got quite a bit to go yet. So I need to turn down 200 thousandths plus. Definitely not doing this the most efficient way, I realize that, but I don't do this enough to stay real efficient at it. At least I'll get it done. Try to cut this little extra off here that's sticking in my way. .294, it needs to be 1.256, so 94 minus 56. So 55 thousandths I need to remove. So if I dial in 25 and then 2.5 more, 1, 2.5, that ought to be about right. This bushing should be pretty close to finished, except for the bore hole, which I'm not going to do till the end. Let me test how big this is now. 1239. I wanted 1256, so I think I overshot it. Yeah, I overshot it a little bit. It's not going to be a big deal one way or the other, really. It don't matter. Alright, I think what I'm going to do though is go ahead and turn down the insides of these, all of these really quick, and just knock them quite a ways down, and then I'll cut everything to the outside diameter, and then I'll cut all the individual inside ones. Kind of a pain. Okay, I think I got the outside diameter of everything turned. Now I need to turn these other inside ones. 0.868 is what I wanted these to be. This is even a hair big here. It's close enough. This one's 913. So if I can take about 22 off of this first one. I don't know, the math didn't look right on that one, so I took a conservative cut just to make sure. Yeah, I'm still big, so the math was probably right. Yeah, well, that's about the same as this one. About the same. Need to take a total of 25 off of this one, so about 12 thousandths. That should be pretty close. Yeah, it's a little, that one there is a tiny bit smaller, but it's alright. The ones I'm making so far have been pretty tight. They might not even go, they're that tight. That one's a hair big, just a hair. That ought to be pretty close on all of them. I guess a guy could bore it all first, but I think I'm going to bore each one of them individually, which takes more time, but I think that's the way I'm going to do it anyway. Because I'm afraid the bit will somehow wander on this soft plastic and I won't be dead center, so I'm just going to do one at a time. It's going to be a pain in the neck because I'll have to drill 8 of them because each one of these gets cut in half. The trick right now is how to find the center of cutting them in half. You know, if I had a DRO it'd be pretty easy, but I don't have a DRO, and I mean I could do the math here, but this thing doesn't have a very good sideways measurement. It really isn't. That's probably the weakest point on this thing. So I don't know what to do other than maybe just try to calculate the middle. So we got 932. That looks pretty darn center to me, so I'm going to call that center. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it over to the saw and saw those the rest of the way in half, because if I cut one of them off then it's not going to work for the rest of them. They'll be close enough for my purposes. These don't have to be high precision, they just need to be close, and they'll be close. Okay, all the pieces are cut in half, so I need a 5/8 drill is what I need, because these are roughly 625. Alright, I've got a 5/8 drill here. We should be able to put a hole through there. Okay, that should be pretty good. Let's see if by chance one of these bushings will fit through there. And right now they don't, but we'll have to press them in, and that's okay with me. I'd like for them to fit good and tight. I think it's going to be just fine when we're done. Plus these need to be cleaned off, they're dirty. So I think it's going to work. Got a little problem here on these outside edges on this one. I'm going to face it off a little bit. Machinists could have done it a lot more efficiently, I'm sure, but I got them done, and they think they will work, but we'll see. Well, I've got the bushings made for these shocks, and they don't fit in there. I'm going to have to press them in, I think. And in this case, pressing in, I think, means hammering them in. But I'm not sure. We may have to take them to the press. Oh, looks like I can hammer them in. Boy, it's nice to have the metal lathe. If you didn't have that, you have no way to make bushings like this. And then there's two different lengths of this metal bushing, so I've got to put in the short one for the top. This goes in the top up here, and hopefully I can get this in. I might have to press this in. I don't know. Odds are this is not going to go. Looks like it will, but just barely. I have to put that on something metal here and keep it from driving out. Well, that's pretty good, but it shaved off some plastic on the inside. Didn't quite expect that. There we go, it worked. Okay, so, you know, that may not be factory, but that's pretty dang close to factory. It's about as good as you could get, I think, without being factory. Just poke that through a little bit more. Now we should be able to connect this first one up right up here. Oh, when you know the plastic, with the plastic, it's just a hair wide. I was afraid of that. I should have checked it, but there's no real good way to check it without just driving it together. Oh my gosh, it's just, I calculated it. Yeah, it's gonna go. Boy, it's right on the money. I mean, look at that. It'll almost hold itself. But that's what I wanted. I wanted it tight. I didn't know if I wanted it quite this tight. Whew. I'll have to do a little more calculating on that bottom one to make sure it goes. Maybe I should have put the bushings in the bottom before I got this far. Well, anyway, it's going to work. I'm pretty sure it's going to work. See, one of these must be shorter than the other. No, they're not. Pretty sure that one would almost have to be shorter than the other, you would think. Yeah, well, I can see one was threaded on a lot further. They're the same bolt. So I'm going to go clean these threads up, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm about to drive this on. I'm going to just drive it up in there. Got a plastic mallet, and the plastic mallet is just about seen its last days. It's starting to break apart. It's almost there. Unfortunately, the shock absorber is doing its job. When I hit this end, it doesn't do anything. I have to force it in by hand, it looks like. There, we got it. Whew. Piece of cake, nothing to it. All right, I'm going to put a little anti-seize on the threads there. All right, got it hand tight. I've got to put the thicker set on this one, thicker bushing set on this one, and I'm going to trim this inside edge off because I think that was part of my problem on the last one. Well, I started pushing these in by hand. I forgot I didn't have the camera on, but anyway, you can see they're going in. They're just tight, so I can just tap them in the rest of the way. Yep, perfect. That's like a perfect fit. I'm absolutely tickled with that. And then this bushing hopefully will go in there too. as good as it's going to get. Now, will it fit in the slot is the next problem. And we will have to drop this down some more to get it to fit in the slot, probably. It's going, I think. That's going pretty good. That's the kind of fit I wish the other bushings would have had, and then we'd have something. Pretty close. I don't know if it'll go through there yet or not. Pretty close. I think I might have it a little deep there. If I could get it up a little bit, I have to get a bigger screwdriver. Okay, well I'm about to pry this up enough to get it in there, I think. There it went. There it went. Perfect. Yeah, now that's a fit. That's the way these things should be fitted together, instead of all this slack that's in there. I'm happy with that. Let me tighten this down. I think that concludes this side. All I gotta do is put the tire back on after I tighten these up, of course. Now that's the way that's supposed to be fit. There's still a little play in this, but that's the bushings. Those new bushings have a little play in them. That's not good, I don't think. I don't think they're supposed to have any play. But, you know, you get what you pay for these days. I bought the cheap ones, I guess. Bought them off of Amazon. So we should be able to get the wheel back on now. And we should be finished with this side. I don't think there's anything else to do. Alright, so we'll just put the washers on these wheels. They all have washers. I don't know why exactly, but they do. It's because they just have regular nuts. These are a flange or a flare nut or whatever you call them with the little built-in washer type deal. Now let's see now. I just need a 14, I think, socket to fit that, I think. Here's the 14. Just tighten them up a little bit first, get them close, and then I'll snug them down. There you go. Yeah, there's still play in that. Not as much as there was, but you know, I'm sure all that's in those bushings because those bushings have play in them. Not my bushings, those are tight. Well, got to do the other side. I don't think I'm going to show you that, but I'll show you the end result. My friends, several days have passed since we put the new bushings on the rear of this Polaris Ranger. This is a 2009 Polaris Ranger XP 700 EFI. I guess you'd have to add that on there. And I can tell you that it's been working very well. I'm very happy with the fact that we got the new bushings in the rear end. We had already previously put the bushings in the front end. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to check it out also. I would like to show you that I added something to this Ranger. I'm having trouble with the charging system, and I just have replaced it several times, so I thought I would just do something totally different. And you can see here I have a solar panel on the top, and that has been keeping the battery charged, and I'm really happy with that. I bought that off of Amazon also, and I'll add that to the products I use page on my website, www.rosastringworks.com. Thank you so much for watching the video. We really do appreciate it. If you would give us a thumbs up, that would be great as well. Thank you very kindly.